I test it on here?
Boom. Yeah. We think we're live.
We think we're live. Does it pop up?
Just refresh this page. And
Refresh this page.
Or I guess maybe go home.
Home.
Hey.
Hey. Are we live? Testing. 1, 2, 3.
Test 1, 2.
Okay, cool. Hello, everyone. Heather here. It's been a while since I've uploaded content onto this channel, but I hope that you have been well. I'm excited because I'm excited for a couple reasons. So this is my husband.
Hi.
Tom Buck. He recently hit 40,000 subscribers on his channel, and I've been working on other different resources to help you guys with your YouTube goals, which is why I've been kind of MIA on this channel, but I figured there's tons of content on here to help you get started. But as I'm gearing up for a resurgence and a comeback and all of these things, I've been planning kind of the next phase of content that I'm going to be creating on here. But one of the things that I want to do is a live stream series of some sorts where I'm talking to other YouTube creators about their journeys in building their channels. So I'm excited that the first person that I'm going to have on here is my husband, Tom. I think you guys are, I mean, it's cool to be able to talk to Tom because there's literally a video on this channel about when he hit 8,000 subscribers, and now he's, 41,000, I think last time I checked. Probably more than that.
41.7.
41.7. So I'm probably counting on a lot of you guys watching the replay of this, but if you are watching the replay or if you're here right now, make sure to hit that bell and, turn on the notifications because I don't have a schedule for this. It's just kind of going to be like when it happens. So if you want to be here live, you got to get the notifications and join the squad. You know what I mean?
We do have a notification squad.
We do have a notification. We have it. Oh, look who it is. What's up, Ron? How did you serve it? Yeah. How did I secure this guest? I asked him to marry me.
My management, which is her, secured it for me.
Okay, so that's what we're going to be talking about today. I think it's going to be cool for you guys to hear from Tom because, like I said, this is someone whose journey that I've been following since day one. I've also been sharing, he's been sharing tips on this channel as well. We also have a YouTube Mastermind group. So if you want to learn from us, you want to get coached by us about your YouTube channel, we have a really fun Mastermind that meets twice a month. That is run by both of us. So it's really cool because you get both of our perspectives. It's, direct one-on-one feedback about your channel, about your videos. You can ask us questions. We have a really good group. But yeah, so it's going to be, I think, really insightful for you because, Tom can actually tell you what works, what doesn't work, what's the difference between going from your first 100 subscribers to your first 10,000 to your first 30,000. I don't know. So you hit 10,000 in January. Now you're at 41,000.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a lot to dive here. I don't even know where to start.
We can start wherever you want. I mean, you've been there every step of the way. I remember we did an interview where I think I had hit 135 subscribers, and you were like, how does it feel to be like solidly over 100? And I was over the moon about
when
that.
I first made my online course, 0 to 2 here, Tom was in it. He made appearances in it, and he was like 300 something subscribers. Yeah. So I mean,
yes. Okay.
So let's start with this.
Yes.
Is there a difference in your process from, the initial phase? Let's call it the first 500 subscribers to now.
Yes.
There is a difference.
Yeah, I would say night and day. Yeah. There absolutely is. And I don't know how much of that comes from the numbers versus just my own mentality, because I don't think there's anything about the current process that I couldn't have done at 100 or 500 or whatever, but it was just, part of it is it just takes time. Like you have to make the videos and you have to go through the process to figure it out and develop it. And the other part of it is me getting in the headspace of taking the channel, not that I never took the channel seriously, but that it's okay to be strategic and taking the channel serious in that way. Because I definitely did feel when the channel was smaller and I was doing something that felt like strategic, for lack of a better term, like, who am I to be doing this? What's the point? Why? And realizing that is silly and it doesn't matter. You can have 28 subscribers and still be ultra strategic with what you're doing and methodical. And, that doesn't mean you're not having fun. Doesn't mean you're not being authentic. It doesn't mean any of that stuff. But it means that you're just putting your energy in the right places.
Yeah. Really quick, Ron says, started from the bottom, now we're here.
Don't call it a comeback.
And it's a hip-hop reference because he's cool. Kevin Ram is here.
Go check out his channel.
Andy's music is here. So if you guys are tuning in live, if you have any questions for Tom about his YouTube journey, feel free to share them in the comments.
Sure.
We are monitoring. We want to make sure that you get the most out of this conversation as well. So, Tom, what's advice that you would give yourself at, when you're like the initial phase?
Let's see here.
I know there's a lot.
Yeah, there's just so much. The biggest one, so in our mastermind and just in talking to people, one of the things that comes up right away is I don't know what niche to be a part of. I know I need, because that's one of the most common things you hear if you're like if you're interested in doing YouTube and you look up any kind of YouTube coaching, you're going to find people who say niche down, don't do variety content, don't do a video about how to like install a light switch, and then the next day how to install an operating system, and the next day like washing your car, like niche down and become something. And that is good advice, but you won't know what the heck that is until you kind of figure out what works and what doesn't work for you. You might even it's going to evolve and change over time. You might find yourself starting to make videos that become really popular. When I started my channel, I did a lot of 3D printing, and those videos did really well. Some of my first videos that actually got decent numbers of views were 3D printing related, and that was really fun. And I was like, oh, I can totally do more 3D printing. And then I realized that the people who came to my channel for 3D printing videos wanted nothing else at all. And they got upset if I did anything that wasn't 3D printing. And I had very limited knowledge in 3D printing. So I, after 8 videos, kind of maxed out everything I knew. And I didn't just want to do here's another printer test, here's another unboxing. Here, I wanted to do other stuff that I'm more interested in. And so even though that was working, that wasn't the thing that was right for me. And you have to kind of figure that. You have to figure those things out. What's the thing that's sustainable, not just for 5 videos or 10 videos, but 50, 100, 1,000 videos? What is the stuff that you can talk about and get excited about and share for that long without getting burnt out on it?
What is something that is a very important part of your process that you didn't think would be important, or that you think is overlooked, or that you wish you had maybe focused on earlier?
I would say I don't know that I didn't focus on it early, but cultivating a community around your channel, which is hard. If you're just starting out and you're barely getting any views, there is no community here. But I mean, literally, the number of people who have smaller channels, maybe their videos get 15 views or something, but they get a comment or two and then they ignore it, or they just click the little heart or something. I mean, that is, to me, a huge mistake. And especially when you're small, if someone's taking the time not only to watch your stuff, but then to provide input, and if it's not a terrible, mean comment or something, but they're actually providing input, respond to that. And respond more than just thanks, but engage. Doesn't mean you have to have a whole dialogue that lasts a day and a half, but just thanks for watching, appreciate the input, here's added point to the thing that you said about the video I made. And that kind of stuff is really important. The number of people you will find who say oh my gosh, thank you for actually replying. Because people are so used to leaving their comments and they're kind of shouting into the void. And then you show up and you're oh, hey, here's response. People really appreciate that. And that brings that person back and back to the next video. And then you do that for another person. They come in and then those people can talk to each other. And then this thing starts building. And you don't need to have 1,000 or 10,000 subscribers for that to start happening.
This is a really cool question. So here's from Andrew Baker. What was the easiest part of getting to 40,000 subs? I think that's really interesting because no one ever talks about that.
Yeah, the easiest part. Okay. Weird answer to that.
Go.
If you the best way to grow, to legitimately see growth where you're what is this? These numbers don't look real, is to get into YouTube's suggested and recommended videos. You can do SEO all day long. You can share your stuff on social media all day long, but it's not until YouTube starts sending out stuff there. I saw, if you go into your analytics, you can look at the number of impressions, which is every time your video pops up on somebody's screen, like the thumbnail of your video, but they could click on it, that's an impression, whether or not they click on it. And the number of those, I remember I was at, tens of thousands of impressions a month, then 100,000s, and then like I cracked 1 million impressions one month, and then in a 1 month period though, it went to 10 million. And the thing is though, I don't know, I don't know how to get YouTube to recommend it, but once YouTube starts doing that, like once they take the wheel,
you just have to do your
thing. Just have to keep making videos. Yeah. And the tricky part is, I think what helps YouTube do that, because you had it happen with a video, we've been thinking it's watch time, and I think that relates to it, like if people are actually sitting there and watching your video. But Heather had a video. Theories. Yeah, Heather had a video take off that like people weren't really, it took off like 2 years after she made it, went crazy, but people weren't really sticking around to watch it, but it was still getting out there.
Yeah.
So I think one of the biggest things is if you make a video that not just the content of the video, but the thumbnail, the title, everything is very clear for who that's for, that's going to help YouTube as a platform figure out like the people to send this to.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what you need. Like, if it's just sort of this general video that is like, do you like this? Do you like this? Mm-hmm. Like, they're not going to know. But if it's something that's really specific, like I had a video take off recently that was about like the setup that I use for my Zoom meetings for classes. And, it says Zoom meetings right on there, like take your Zoom meetings to the next level, right on the thumbnail. It's right in the title. It's what the whole video is about. And YouTube seems to be sending that out to students and teachers like crazy.
Yeah.
Because those are the people who are commenting. Every day, like tons of comments, wish my teacher did this, like blah, 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 blah. So I'm like, okay, students are getting this, but also like teachers are like, wow, great input, great ideas. So clearly something about that video was easy to recommend, and that led to significant growth. So the easiest part, which is actually very difficult to make happen, but once YouTube takes the wheel, it's shocking like how things can grow.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of factors, obviously, like who knows how many in the whole YouTube algorithm thing, but I really think that if you know what your content is about and who it's for, and you clearly convey that consistently through all of your content, then it's going to be really easy for an AI to figure out, okay, a person who watches this same kind of content is going to enjoy some, similar content. So it's going to be easy for them to be like, okay, if this person watched this video and this video, so did this person. So we're going to serve the same content to that person because they're more, based on this guy's behavior, they're going to like that video too. So.
And YouTube did just add in the analytics, I forget which thing it is, but if you click on your analytics, it shows you what other videos your audience is watching. So like right on the side, there's a little thing and it shows the channel, the video, and you can kind of see like, does the thumbnail look like mine? Is the topic like mine? Is the person who runs the channel, are they sent? Like you can try to figure out how you're fitting into the picture, the broader picture of a person's world that way.
Yeah, exactly. Ron says, Tom, was there any resistance to your niche becoming an extension of what you do for your 9 to 5?
Yes, because I started my channel as a way to escape my day job entirely. And the two, because I teach digital media and my channel is basically all about digital media, but I still see a nice distinction between the two. Like they're supplemental. Like there's many times stuff that we're taught. What we're doing right now is shockingly similar to what my online classes are like every day. But so yeah, but there's still this divide where my channel is my own. And if it's supplemental, that's cool. My audience is definitely not high school students for my channel. If a high school kid finds it and is into it, that's awesome. But I'm not, when I recommend, I don't know, I just did a video about this camera. I'm like, oh, this camera's amazing. Like it's $1,700. That's a great deal for a 16-year-old. That's essentially entirely out of reach. But for a 38-year-old, it's like, yeah, it's a reasonable investment. So, kind of knowing who your audience is very important.
Mm-hmm. Ron says, cultivating a community must be really hard if you're a tough person in life. Tom is super likable. Heather would agree. Yes.
I'm just a delightful, refreshing breath of fresh air.
Okay, so let's see. How many videos have you made? Do you know off the top of your head?
Videos about 212, and then maybe like 50 live streams in there. Yeah.
When you first started, did you realize that this is what it was going to take?
Not really.
Yeah.
Because it's a ton of work. Like, I was actually having this discussion with some of my students today because we were talking about, they have their assignments that are due in my classes, but I was also emphasizing, like, actually, I think it might even pop up on the screen. I might even be able to show you literally what I'm talking about. Here. These were things that they needed to work on because I was using this software. So I was like, okay, you need to work on this project, which is due this week, complete missing assignments. And then I was like, you could also just make stuff for fun. Like, what? And then that led us into like a whole discussion on it's not even for a grade. Kevin Ram, who's in here, I used his channel as an example. I was like, he's been learning Blender for like 150 days, not because it's part of a job, not because he's getting paid for it, but because he values it as a creative person, thinks it's going to be handy in the future, and gets some kind of satisfaction out of it. But the conversation we had was they kind of focused too much on the word fun. And I was like, fun is probably not the most accurate word. I would say like fun with satisfaction in there, because oftentimes it's really hard, the amount of work you have to put in. And channel size is irrelevant. But just it's so much work, but that feeling of like being done and seeing it there and having done it is immensely satisfying. And I think being able to, I definitely like literally feel a chemical addiction to, like, I get the anxiety and the stress of like having to make something, the sort of like, I guess you could call it the fun as the process happens, the making the thing, and then the total like dopamine rush as it's like done and ready is like, the whole process ends up being very satisfying, even if parts of it are very difficult.
Well, here's one thing that I've observed. I'm actually going to make a video about this, or it's an idea. And this is inspired by you.
Oh.
Okay. So Tom has been like consistent. Like how long has it been now?
With my current like upload date and time, well over a year.
Once a week. Yeah. Well over a year.
Maybe a year and a half.
Same day, same time. Thursdays, 5:15 a.m. Has not missed a beat. Okay. Been consistent. And to be able to see that, like every process, not only, the creative process and him building the channel, but like day-to-day life, how he fits it in, how he schedules it and all of that. The one thing that I can like equate it to is fitness.
Right.
Really?
I mean, I knew that's where you were going with
Really?
this. Yeah. How would I? Of course. Because that's the thing that you fit in no matter what. You're like, I'm going to fit this into my schedule.
Oh, my God. So, well, hear me out. Because I think there's a different angle I'm trying to take. There's a different angle, babe. Okay. So, here's the angle. I've been working out for over 90 days.
In a row. No
consecutive,
breaks.
Yeah. Feeling pretty good about that. It has not gotten easier. Mm-hmm. It's still hard. Every single time, it's still hard. Every single time, I don't want to do it. Every single time I'm in the middle of the workout, I want to pass out. I'm still like pushing my heart rate super high. It doesn't get easier. Yes, I'm building muscle. Yes, I'm getting stronger. Yes, I'm building my stamina and endurance. It's still hard. And you see these like fitness influencers and fitness people and fitness trainers. It's still hard for them too. You still have to put in the effort. Yes, they make it look easy. But it's the same thing with YouTube. I think that I think it's typical for people to think that when you hit 5,000, 10,000, or this number that seems so far away, you're like, oh my God, it's so easy for them. It's so easy. But it's not. It's just as hard as when you first started, because you still have to put in, you still have to put in effort. You still have to, if anything, you're being more strategic. You are, you're analyzing so much data. You're having to come up with new content because you're already 200 videos in. You got to come up with something else. So if anything, it is harder. But don't let that discourage you. I just when I think it was this morning, I was working out and I was like, wow, this is still very hard, even though I'm like 90 days in. And it's like a very similar thing to YouTube, where I feel like people look on, the grass is greener on the other side. Yeah, but it's like, no, it's still gonna be hard.
That's a really good point, because I had the thought, this might have been like 3 months ago, where I was like, I'd really like my channel to grow. And I had the same thing you just said, where I was like, well, I've made all these videos. It's kind of like my 200 best ideas were already done. But I was like, those are the videos that for the most part aren't going to be the most, like, I probably haven't actually made my most popular videos yet.
What a crazy concept.
And I was just like, oh,
what a crazy thought.
That sounds like really like, wow, how fun. But I was like, oh my, like paralyzed with fear. I was like, I'm out of ideas. I'm a failure. I'm a fraud. And that's crazy when you're like, it's been years, it's been hundreds of videos, but I like am still very much in the climb. I'm still very much in the fitness routine, building the muscle.
Yeah.
All that kind of stuff.
Kevin says, you're very much a teacher in all aspects. I love that your brand translates from the classroom to online seamlessly.
Thank you.
Jessica's here. She's listening to this at work. James is here too.
Hello.
Awesome. So the crew is here.
The whole crew.
The whole crew.
The squad.
The squad. Yeah, so shameless plug. Go check out our live stream podcast on my vlog channel.
Featuring most of the people in the chat right now.
Yeah, you tell them what the couples table is.
The couples table is our chance to talk about things that sometimes touch on digital media, but oftentimes have absolutely nothing to do with this stuff, and just sort of like
talking about
life as a newly married couple.
Yeah. Anyways.
Slice of life.
Let's see. What is, I don't know, the 5 most critical things to your process? Doesn't have to be like just gear, but
yeah, no. I wasn't even thinking gear at all actually. Carving out the time, like I've said this a million times, but I remember very much when my channel was like, you know where I'm going. When my channel was under 100 subscribers, and it'd be like a Saturday or something, and I would go, I really like want to make a video, and Heather would say like, hey, why don't we do this thing, that thing, or the other thing? And I would feel so much guilt for saying like, well, I really want to do the video. Not because she was making me feel guilty, but because I felt silly going like, I know that there's no one who actually is going to care if a video comes out this week or not. Like, people won't even notice. Like, I'm rearranging my schedule to work on this thing that's like, that isn't noticeable to most people. And that felt really silly. And of course, Heather was always very supportive and very much like, no, like that's completely fine. And I had to learn that before anything, it was about carving out that time for myself to work on something that was important to me. And that has nothing to do with anybody else even seeing it, but that it's absolutely necessary and okay to go, okay, based on my schedule, this day and time is the time that I need to set aside for creating something and making something, filming or editing or whatever. And doing that's really important, and not feeling goofy. Because there's something about and I remember like if I had 100 subscribers, I wouldn't feel silly. If I had 1,000, if I had 10,000.
And that's just there always.
Yeah. And
until you get the silver play button, babe.
And even then, people are like, but then what about 1 million? I mean, I think there's some truth to like once the numbers like once I passed 10,000, I do remember feeling like, okay, I don't think anyone would like.
Yeah.
It feels pretty easy to justify, like, I need to spend a day working on this thing, but even at 50 or less or fewer, like, it's an important thing to invest your time into, and then giving yourself the permission to do it, because what you might want to do is, if you do have an idea of what your niche is, or what area you want to focus on, the first thing that most people think of now that YouTube has been around for 15 years is, well, that's already been done, or it's already been saturated, or there's too many people doing it. And giving yourself permission to jump in, don't copy what somebody else is doing exactly, but be influenced, sure. But if you have a thing that you're passionate about, that you want to share with other people, and you could literally make 400 videos about and not get tired of it, do that thing. It doesn't matter if it's like already feels like it's been done or whatever, because you're going to put a different spin on it. That's your own. And I'm trying to think in my head, that's number 2. But the other thing that's tied into that is really don't be afraid to lean into what makes you you. Do not feel like you have to copy the people who influence you or the people who are popular in a space. YouTube especially is very known for being over the top, and people are like, what's up, we're doing this, and blah, 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 and like crazy energy. And most people aren't like that in real life. And especially there's a lot of people who are very laid back in real life. And oftentimes I've seen them try to be energetic on their YouTube videos, and then they talk about how exhausting it is. And my suggestion is, why are you doing that? Like, just be the laid back person, because there's going to be a whole bunch of people who love that. And that's what they're going to love from the video. Is like, I can go there and learn something that's really like laid back and mellow, or I can, whatever it is. Like, if you have an accent, if you have something you're just really passionate and excited about, if there's something like, it took me 2 years before I started putting cheesy jokes into my videos.
I know, 2 years. Can you believe it? It's such a staple of his channel.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I do it in my classroom. I do it in my daily life. I've done it my entire life, just cheesy jokes. But I was so worried about YouTube. Like, people come for, if they clicked on a video on how to do this thing, they want to know how to do the thing. They don't want to.
And honestly, I would go so far to say is like, people come to.
Oh yeah, no, people tell me that now. Yeah. They're like, I don't even care about this video. I have people who do timestamps of my jokes in the videos and rate them. Crazy. And that's, to me, like, that's the most fun part. And now it's a creative challenge. I'm doing a tutorial on like audio processing. Cool, but like, now what is the like goofy pun joke thing that I can throw in there? And that is a thing that is natural for me, that other people, that nobody else is really. Everybody makes jokes and stuff, but nobody's like doing it in that way, which is also like, that's what I've done in the classroom for 10 years, is like end every class with a cheesy joke. And
that's something you do anyway.
But it was like, I kept that part out of my YouTube channel for so long because I thought people would think it was a waste of time because it's not relevant to the content.
James has a really good question. What's a non-subscriber related goal you have for your channel, Tom?
I mean, I don't really have subscriber goals. I have like subscriber wish lists. Like, maybe by this time I could hit this, but you have no control. Like, if YouTube,
what do you mean?
Like, having a subscriber goal is hard because sometimes people will say like, I want to hit this number by this date or by the end of the year or whatever. And like, literally, like, if I were like, I want to hit 100,000 subscribers in the next 6 months, YouTube could pick up my video, a couple videos today, and I could hit that this weekend.
Yeah.
Or it could drop them all, and I could never reach it, no matter what. I have no control over that, really. But I do have control over how many videos I make. I do have control of the quality of the videos, how I engage with the community and stuff like that. So I try actually not to have subscriber-related goals, even though I like to celebrate the milestones.
Yeah.
So a non-subscriber goal, I am trying to figure out a way. Over time, my channel's organically begun to generate revenue. And over more time, it's become like a not insignificant amount of revenue. It's not like my day job salary or anything, but it's like, it's not bad either. And I would like to find ways to effectively, like, I would like to do a sponsorship, a partnership, but not in the way like, today I turned down NordVPN again. Which isn't like a brag, but it's like, NordVPN sponsors a lot of YouTube creators, and when I said no thank you, I thanked them. I was like, thank you for like consistently sponsoring people on YouTube, because that's really cool. There's computers and tech in my videos, but like, I don't use NordVPN. Like, I don't talk about VPNs. It's really not relevant to my content, and so I don't want that. But there's other companies or whatever where it's like, we're so much in line that if they were to sponsor something, it would feel really natural. They would give me the creative control that I would want from it, and the sponsorship would enable me to do something that I couldn't do without it. Like, it's not just about getting a paycheck, but now, like, travel's not so much a thing, but I could do something in the video on the channel that wouldn't be possible without that extra boost. And I would like to find ways to do that that are as authentic as possible, which is tough because finding authentic sponsored content on YouTube is basically a desert, and it's very tough. So it's one of those things you kind of have to build it yourself because you don't really see a lot of it.
Did you know that your channel would be what it was in terms of like the content that you're creating now is exactly what you set out to create? No. How many times did it change?
I don't know. I mean,
how far are you from your original vision?
I think it's just like, I don't even know what the original vision was. It was like, the original vision was, let's make videos and have fun making videos. Let's talk about things. It evolves naturally over time, and I think it's hard to do something like YouTube for a number of years without
evolving.
It's kind of like a band, you know, like there's a band, if every album they put out is the same, people will then criticize them for never changing. So then they kind of go into a new style and everyone says like the old stuff better. And then eventually, once they've done a few albums in the new style and do something else, people say like the old stuff, now the old stuff was the new stuff. Like you just got to kind of evolve as seems natural. Like right now, I saw a thing on Twitter today that was like, go search up your 3 most popular videos.
Oh, I saw this.
Yeah. And those are probably the videos that brought in the biggest audience. So maybe
Make
that's
more
what
of that.
you should consider. And I looked at my 3, which was not a surprise to me, but they're all like streaming and podcast related. And I was like, I saw myself in like the camera niche, but I'm honestly not really interested in the newest camera tech.
Yeah.
At least not interested in having it because I think it's just too expensive and too impractical. But I really do I mean, live streaming isn't my job now, essentially, for better or worse. I really like that stuff. People seem to be getting value out of it. But now I'm kind of like, is that what my... But I guess I don't want to be like, that's the microphone guy.
Right. You want to be able to...
But so I'm currently like navigating an evolution of the channel. I do feel like the live stream video podcast area is a very happy medium of everything because it's like we can talk about video, we can talk about software, we can talk about
broad
audio.
enough, yeah.
I'm trying to stick in like audio and video. Like let's improve your audio and video. The two go together. The two are very important. Let's work on those things.
Yeah.
And that's cool. But yeah, my camera videos don't do as well as my audio videos do.
Wow. That's crazy.
Is that a sarcastic?
No, like I didn't realize that.
Oh yeah, I mean significantly.
That's crazy.
Yeah. It can look at like whatever my 10 most recent videos are. The bottom half is all the camera stuff and lenses, and the top half is all audio.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's very clear like what. So
you definitely, for sure, you didn't go into it thinking that you were going to do audio stuff.
I didn't have any audio when I got started.
So then the takeaway there is if you are still figuring out your niche, like it might be about just experimenting and then seeing not only what you feel comfortable and excited about creating, but then also what the community is responding to. Mm-hmm. But then also if you know what your niche is, then go full force, but then maybe there's a different angle. Like, Kevin's in here. He doesn't want to do tutorials even though he could, but he's like talking about a specific program. So, there's different angles that you can take within a niche if you already if you're really good at baking, then obviously do that. But okay, so Ron says, I see some YouTubers joining content networks. Have any approached you to join, and would you ever consider it? And then Jessica says, content networks intimidate me.
We've talked about this. Okay. Decisions like that are the choice of the creator. So yes. I don't want to...
There's no right or wrong. It's up to you.
I don't want to condemn anything. My answer is a hard no matter what. I don't care who it is. Because I don't see the benefit. I see... Now I have a middleman who is like... I just don't see the benefit. I see me losing control of my channel. I see other people getting involved. I see... Now there's the pressure of like, I got to make even more revenue to cover the cost of this. And, originally I was getting this, but now because of them, they're taking their cut and now I'm getting this. Like, it's just, and I've never heard of a content network story that ends happily.
Well, that's because they don't talk about it.
I guess that's true. They're still in it.
Yeah.
But how common is it if you're in the YouTube creator world to hear people talk about like the nightmare after they've ended their relationship or their contract with something? And it's like, I think it's one of those things. I can't speak to having hundreds of thousands or millions of subscribers or whatever, because at that point you're running something that it just works differently.
Yeah.
But I can say what I do see is a lot of people who, they're hitting their first few thousand subscribers. Maybe they're coming up on the 10,000 and they want to jump on those opportunities. Like I follow somebody who just hit 30,000 subscribers like yesterday, which on YouTube, when you hit 30,000, you unlock memberships, it's basically like YouTube's built-in Patreon. And YouTube will even tell you in it, like, we don't really think your channel's going to do that well with this, it's just sort of a thing you can offer. Lots of people don't offer it. Some people do. But this person was like, okay, my goal is like, I got to get that enabled. I got to figure out my membership tiers right now. And it's like, I know you're going to launch that and nothing's going to happen. And I think some people are just so excited. Like, this network approached me. This sponsorship opportunity happened. I have to say yes. I'm going to get this weird product from a company no one's ever heard of, but I get to say this video is sponsored by weird company you've never heard of. And they just, it like feels legit.
I think the thing that I admire Tom the most about when it comes to his YouTube channel is like he has been able to really make it his own and keep it his own. And I think, you know, like I'll be the first to admit, like a sponsor approached me and I was like, yes. Even though like looking back, I probably shouldn't have done that. But why would I turn money down? Like, I just didn't know, you know, back then. And if someone is going to approach you with like, here's a possibility for getting money or here's a possibility of getting subscribers, like, why wouldn't you say yes to that? But as soon as you let somebody else in, like, you lose control.
Yeah.
Like, immediately, regardless of the degree of it, you lose control. And I think the cool part about YouTube is that it is something that's completely our own, that we have total control over, that we decide what content goes on there, and, you know, the atmosphere of the community and all of those things. So to relinquish a part of that just kind of seems like, what, you know, isn't that why we created our channel in the first place?
Yeah.
But I mean, you know, like you said, oh, you know, who has had a good experience? I think there's plenty of people who have had good experiences. They're still in the network. So, but yeah, I agree with you where I wouldn't do one. Ron says, I feel like, oh wait, really quick. Carpenter's self-reliance. I am not sure how to get noticeable. Any advice?
You just gotta make videos, which is like the least satisfying answer. But you know, when you're just starting out, Heather and I cover this in our mastermind all the time because most of the people there are kind of just getting started. Working with SEO and searchable content is great. You might not want to be a tutorial channel or something like that in the long run, but that's the way to build your credibility because no one knows who you are to start off with. So if you know how to provide value in like a straight up, this is how you solve a problem, this is how you achieve a goal, and then when people search how to do blank and you pop up, depending on your thumbnail and your title, your subscriber count doesn't matter, the age of your channel doesn't matter. You can still rank above someone that has hundreds of thousands of subscribers. And then you just kind of keep doing that. And eventually, like, you know, YouTube will start noticing people are clicking on your videos. People will start noticing that your videos are good. If your videos do start to fall in a genre, you know, like I know for me, so many channels I'm subscribed to now were ones where I searched for something, I found a video, it was really good. Later on, I searched for something, I found a video, it was by the same person. And that happened like 3 or 4 times, and I was like, God.
I mean, that's how we met.
Yeah, it is literally. But it's like, you know, this channel just has everything that I'm interested in on it.
Yeah.
So, you know, it just takes that time. And it does take, it's not 5 or 10 videos, it's 50, 60, 100 videos before things even start turning.
You should say that again. Say it for the people in the back, babe.
50, 60, 100 videos before things even really start.
I think people underestimate how long it takes.
Yeah.
It's not like months, you know, like don't think time in terms of like duration of time passing, but it's like how much you create.
Yeah.
I think really makes a difference. Ron says, I feel like camera YouTube is very focused on specs and tech. Your videos seem more focused on how to use that tech to enable you to tell your story, which is much more satisfying.
Yes, and that's intentional. So if you want to talk about like differentiating in a niche, you know, like
you're very intentional.
In the camera space, there's a few people, like Gerald Undone is the one who comes up because he literally takes the instruction manual from a new product and actually reads the printed instruction manual and then tries to do the things that it says and sees if it actually works. And if it doesn't, then he brings up like, you know, here's a inconsistency, here's that. Nobody is going to do that kind of thing better than him. So why am I even going to try? If there's a very important tech spec that I need, like, you know, I don't know. If I upgraded a camera and the big deal was that it did 4K, I would want to talk about the 4K, but I wouldn't talk about every single spec in the world. It really does come down to like, how does this tool fit into a workflow? And I have found that my audience is people who tend to make stuff. They have podcasts, they have YouTube channels. They're interested in like, how can this tool fit into what I need it to do? And they don't necessarily care that it came out this year or last year. They don't care that it's what the thing says on paper. They care about like when the results that it gives. And that's what I try to keep in mind. That's who I try to make the videos for, because that's also what I care about personally. And so I always think like I try to make my videos for me 6 months ago. Is kind of like has been my idea for a while. So what was I needing help with 6 months ago? I'll make that video.
You didn't have audio in the beginning? That's crazy.
I mean, the videos had sound, but it was literally like a little point and shoot camera, no like fancy microphone, just whatever.
You weren't talking about audio. You were
no.
Yeah, you were talking about video.
Yeah, I talked about like how to do video stuff, time lapses, but I wasn't talking about audio. And that was on purpose because I started my channel. I wanted it to be simple and easy, so I didn't want to deal with cameras and lenses and whatever. I just simple, get it done, get the video out there. And then as time went on, I was like, hey, now I'm going to focus on lighting. Now I'm going to focus on sound and that kind of stuff.
It's funny how much a channel does.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I mean, I was just watching, if you look up the Everyday Dad, he has a channel. He just hit like 250-ish thousand subscribers, but I think less than a year ago crossed the 100,000 threshold, so his channel really grew. And that last 150 has been since he switched from doing camera videos to computer videos, like basically Apple, like iPad, iPhone, MacBook videos. That's like everything there. He just found the community to be more friendly. Like the people coming into the videos were just more fun to deal with. The videos were doing better. You can literally see it on his channel. It's all camera videos. And then literally, like, there's a camera video that has like 15,000 views, which is decent. The channel had like 100,000 subscribers. The next video is an iPad video, has like 300,000 views. And there's another one, and it's, 200,000, 400,000. And you're just like, oh, this is where he just hit his stride. But before computers was cameras, before cameras was 3D printing, before 3D printing was like running shoes or something. So it's like, things just have a way of evolving, and hopefully it can align where there's content you want to make and content that people actually want to watch, and and the community is enjoyable to be a part of.
Did you ever want to give up?
Want to give up? No. I don't know that I've ever actually hit the point of, I've had the thought of like, am I just gonna, like, can I just keep doing this for 10 years or whatever? And there's a lot of anxiety over like what, that relies on the platform existing, and people, we all saw what happened with MySpace overnight. That went away. Like, I don't know if YouTube's going to have the same fate. I don't think so, but it's, the only thing is right now just the exhaustion of full-time work, and YouTube is now becoming quickly a full-time job also, but I have to. And so there's just sort of like an exhaustion there that's kind of my biggest challenge at the moment.
Let's see. Homesick Mac. Yep.
Oh, hey.
Everyday Dad is great, but it's the same. Both Tom and Gary have this personality thing. Sometimes it's obvious, sometimes it evolves from just doing it.
Yeah, and a lot of times it does come out from just, I think almost any channel you watch, go back and watch their first videos if it's still up on their channel, and you'll see like the person who's just so at ease and like so familiar now, their first video is usually like, hello, welcome to my channel. Today we're going to talk about computer mice. And it's just all like stilted and weird, and like, it's just the repetition. You get used to being in front of a camera, as weird as it is. You get used to hearing your voice and editing your voice. And, I get so tired. It happens with my students all the time where, I just assigned them, they had to do a voiceover project. So they had to write a thing, write a script, do a voiceover recording of it. And no one even has to hear it. Like literally they do it. They can turn it into me. No one else has to hear it. And so many kids are like, oh my gosh, I hate the sound of my voice. I can't do it. And I'm like, oh.
Is that what they sound like?
Probably. It's all through Zoom comments. But, and I'm like so annoyed by that because I'm like, just get over it. Like right? Nobody cares. You talk in that voice for your whole life. So like deal with it. But then I remember like, yes. I remember how weird it was to sit there and edit footage of myself.
Stare at your face.
And I felt so weirdly narcissistic and bizarre. Yeah. And like, who is this person to make a video of himself and put it on the internet that people should watch it. Are you kidding?
What is either the biggest thing that you've struggled with or something that you regularly struggle with when it comes to your channel, and how do you overcome it? I'm thinking like whatever you struggle with is something that other people are struggling with. So what,
It's really tough not to play the comparison game. And comparison absolutely is the thief of joy, whether that's, somebody who started after you and their channel got bigger, faster, people who, make videos about the same subject, but you feel like they do their videos better, people who seem like they maybe have more opportunities, that kind of stuff is tough. I feel like I've gotten pretty good at being able to like protect myself from it, but things still happen. Like, especially, oh my gosh, lately the camera world, like there have been a few camera releases this year that people have been very excited about, which is cool, but so much so that it really almost feels like now it's like a club and you kind of can't participate unless you have also dropped a huge chunk of change on this new thing and you're part of the club and talking about how great it is. And like, especially when it's something that you're like, this feels like everybody at my school is doing this thing and I'm not really that interested in doing it. And I feel separated in a weird way, not because anybody is actively separating or anything, but it's just sort of like, and then you kind of feel the pull. Like I've definitely, had to stop myself from going like, well, okay, I guess I need to jump into this thing and do that. And then it's like, actually, I just don't want to. It might be good for the channel. It might get videos that get a lot of views. It might help the channel grow, but like, I don't want to. So I won't. And then, I don't know. So that's been really tough though, because I don't know. It's I don't know how to describe that. It's a weird thing where I guess it may be because like the channel size is like getting bigger, but I'm finding myself encountering situations that I only ever observed other people encounter.
What do you mean?
Social, like, I can't keep up with messages on platforms anymore. Emails and messages, there's too many every day that I can't answer them, which is not a boast or anything, but it's like I've always really valued being able to reply to people, and I can't do that. And now the messages are also, a lot of them are starting to change tone, where it's a lot of like, can I have this? Can you give me a blah, blah, blah? Can you do this for me? And it's like, it's kind of weird. And so then there's ones where I'm like, I'm actually just going to ignore this. And I feel terrible because this person took time to like seek out an email address or a screen name, send the message. But like, I can't. Yeah. I had somebody yesterday send me a message and like, they seemed like a very nice person, but they were like, I really need help. This is what I'm working with. I would never ask you for money. Can I just have a camera? And I was like, no. Because like, I don't, that is asking for money. And no, like it's a crazy thing.
JC Craft Mage, what are your best tips for not being
name.
an awkward goober while talking to the camera?
Oh no, just be an awkward goober. Yeah, that's my advice.
That's the whole thing.
Yeah, and that's with YouTube especially because, like, okay, remember at the beginning of quarantine when all the late night hosts tried to like do YouTube videos basically, and they were like really bad at it? And it's because it just wasn't right, because YouTube thrives on authenticity.
Yeah.
And people can sniff that out.
Yeah.
It's not even suit and tie. You like John Krasinski did Some Good News where he was like in a suit and tie, but it
totally different vibe.
Everybody loved it versus like someone. It's just the awkwardness, the individual thing, the thing where someone can watch your video and actually relate. Like if you stutter in a weird way, if you kind of like move in an awkward way, if there's just that awkwardness that's there, which will probably go away with practice.
Literally, I subscribe to a deaf chick.
Yeah.
Like she's deaf. She doesn't talk. She just like, it's all ASL and I'm fascinated.
Yeah.
Like, so it's like, whatever, I mean, this is kind of you. Your jokes are like, awkward.
Yeah.
But you leaned into it.
Yeah. I mean, it is something that, believe it or not, is actually going to endear you to people. And I wouldn't even try to hide it. If it naturally evolves and goes away over time, that's cool. But if it doesn't, that's cool too.
Yeah, there you go. Let's see. Homesick Mac. I'm just starting YouTube and I'm comfortable with the camera. Performing musician for 40 years. Wow, that's awesome. But I don't dare be as goofy as I am privately. Maybe comparable with Tom's cheesy jokes that came later on. Should I just go crazy or take it easier in the beginning?
Just do what feels right. Like, listen to your gut. I was just editing a video yesterday and there was a part in the video that I was like, this feels like it should go in here. But for whatever reason, like literally my gut was like, it's just not sitting right. And I was like, I'm going to delete it. I don't even know why, but it just doesn't, something is not sitting right. So if you go crazy in your video and act like goofy, like you do normally in real life, that might actually just feel so good. But it also then you might go, I don't know, I'm not comfortable with it. And then just... Yeah.
I think there's a difference, and I think you'll get better at this, of the self-awareness of recognizing, like, is this discomfort because you're new to it?
Yeah.
Is it awkwardness because you're new to it? You haven't done it before. You haven't done it on camera. Or is it awkward because you really don't feel comfortable doing that, like, crazy thing or being, outrageous or whatever.
That's a really good point.
Yeah, just knowing the difference. Like, I think there's a lot of camera awkwardness that can go away with time. It's kind of like a muscle, but also, like, I think your gut would be able to tell you, okay, this is not me.
Yeah.
Like, I don't do this. I'm trying to be someone I'm not. Yeah. Let's see. Ron says, I think Tom needs to let go of the camera crew stuff. His content is, to my mind, better than theirs. Sure, they get a ton of views, but they're driven by pure capitalism.
Well, I have thoughts. Don't worry. But yeah, I know I need to let it, and I'm sort of moving into a different part of that space anyway, but it's, it's just something about, I had this thought yesterday. This is probably not relevant, but I'm going to share it anyway.
You share it, Tom.
If we're talking about camera YouTube, which is where I sort of semi-live, both as a creator and a consumer, there's a whole bunch of different people in there. There's, like I mentioned, Gerald Undone, who I love. And even if he does sponsored content, if he does whatever, it still feels very authentic and very natural. There's people who are goofy, people who are serious. There's a group of creators in this. And I'm just going to say, it's not even that they're doing anything wrong at all. But it's the exact same feeling I have of, like, they are the cool kids. But it's not the cool kids, like, it's really much the feeling I had at my high school of, like, it's not that, like, oh, I think these people are so cool. It's like, they're the cool kids and they kind of know it. And when I started,
you jealous?
No, I'm really not jealous, because as I started watching some of these videos, I was like,
you don't want to be the cool
The
kid.
only value is literally you're just showing me how cool you are. Like, there's no entertainment, there's no education. It is just sort of a flex on, like, being cool. And I don't know how to describe it. We're not going to get into more specifics in that on the stream. But that was so off-putting to me. And I was like, oh, I would so much rather just be with, like the dorkier people who just do their own thing.
Yeah.
Which is exactly what happened in high school, too.
Surely it's nicer to have people come and watch your videos because they love what you do, not because of a current hot product you'd be indirectly shilling for you.
Exactly.
For sure.
Yeah. I've become very conscious of product-related videos. Most of the products I do aren't, unless it's something like, I have this microphone I made a video for a couple weeks ago. I did happen to make the video like the week that the microphone came out, but I bought the microphone myself and I made the video because I was so curious about it. Like, I was on the mailing list for, like, releases because I was like, oh, I am curious about that. And it aligned with, like, a release.
JC Craft Beige, I love you guys. The deaf chick thing, I was not expecting. That really got me. Yeah, it's fascinating. There's also this trend. It's a trend. I think it's a trend. I don't think it's like, I think it's a trend that YouTube's been pushing out, but, like, refugees from North Korea.
This has not shown up in my recommendations.
Assimilating into, like,
okay.
life outside of North Korea.
Okay.
Which I haven't clicked on those videos
fascinating,
yet, but
though.
yeah, right? Anyway.
Fascinating.
But talk about, like,
people who would
being
probably
awkward.
be awkward.
Anyway, hello from Canada. I love the channel.
Hello.
Hi, Randy. How did you guys meet?
We met on YouTube.
We met on YouTube.
I get, maybe he's asking because he mentioned that, but yeah, met on YouTube, connected. Originally, Heather was like an industry partner for my high school program that I teach.
Oh, that's like a lame story.
I know.
Tell them the story. Tell like a short version of the story.
The short version of the story is, as I was starting my channel, I was searching for some stuff. I was planning for a trip to Iceland. I was looking up boosted boards because if you were interested in starting YouTube in 2017, you had to get a boosted board. What was the other one? Oh, and I'm a digital media teacher. And so I found a boosted board review from Heather. I found an Iceland packing video from Heather, and
One of my favorite videos.
And I found like business videos where she was talking about quitting her job to be like a digital media advocate. And I was like, these are three like really specific things. And I just, with literally no ulterior motives, sent an email that was just like introducing myself and basically just saying, I teach this program. I think what you do is really great. And all I wanted was basically to be like an advisory partner. So as I'm going like, hey, this is what I'm teaching my students a couple of times a year, she would say like, yeah, you should have them focus on this, focus on that. These skills are really important. This doesn't matter. And that was like, that'd be really cool because in our area, our community is kind of small. Every school has the exact same partners. And I was like, nobody has these super cool like YouTube girl. I would really like her to, like, that's way more what I want my program to go towards. But then she was like, your program sounds like the thing I'm trying to advocate for. I would like to prove that it exists by visiting it. And she came out. There's a whole video on her other channel about
Yeah, go check out my vlog channel. The whole story is...
And then we fell in love.
But yeah, now we...
Are married.
So we're married. Yes, we're married. But we also run the YouTube Mastermind. So if any of you guys are
that too.
Building a YouTube channel and you want to be coached by us, we run it together and it's a lot of fun. We meet twice a month. There's some people in the chat who are there and they can tell you about their experience.
Oh, there's also a private Facebook group, which is cool because it's sort of ongoing.
You can check it out at ytmastermind.com. Shameless plug. Anyway, Ron says, I don't know how to express this. I had the exact same feeling at school, and I have absolutely been one of the dorky ones.
Oh, no, for sure. Absolutely. And it's this weird thing of, like, speaking of, like, high school, the cool kids weren't, it's not that they were jerks or anything. Like, they were too cool to even notice me, like, that I was even on their radar at all. There's a scene from Mad Men, like one of the early seasons, where Don Draper's in the elevator and finally like one of the lower level like interns, there's like memes about this. He like turns to him and he's like, you know, like I feel really sorry for you, and kind of goes down to like, you live this like shallow life and blah, blah, blah. And Don Draper looks at him and goes, I don't think about you at all. And it's like, that is kind of like how it was. It wasn't even that they were being mean. It's just like, they lived privileged, you know, they were the kids that had new cars. They had means that I had no access to. They had experiences I had no access to. They were social in ways I just wasn't connected to. And they had just had a whole life of other people loving them for these things. I kind of think that maybe they didn't have any personalities as a result of it because just existing was enough to make them cool. But they weren't mean or evil or anything.
See, like, I was totally uncool in high school, but I think I was pretty cool in college. So I don't know what that.
Well, college, I think I feel like it's easier to be cool in college because it's easier to find your people.
Yeah.
High school, you're just thrown in with, like, the people who live near the school, and, like, it doesn't always work out.
John Scotland, you have a great channel. Ordered an A10 Pro after watching your videos. That's right. Over
I have
here.
The basic one. I don't have the Pro.
Also, cool kids are boring to watch.
True. True.
Cool story. I want to know the real story. See, the North Korean refugees. I haven't watched
I'm fascinated by that.
But yeah, like there's this one. I don't know if it's the same channel or if it's like multiple of them are like coming out now or whatever. But
Noco,
yeah. I can't believe it was 3 years ago. Yeah. Also, call to action. Whoop whoop.
There we go.
So we've been streaming for
an hour.
I was gonna say a year.
For a year.
For an hour. But if you have any last questions, go ahead and leave them in the chat, guys. If for some reason you don't know who Tom is, go check out his channel.
How could you not?
Tom Buck. And if you are... Well, this is like my comeback video on this channel for a very...
Don't call it a comeback.
I think I uploaded once on this channel, but get ready because there's going to be lots of cool, fun stuff that I've got planned. one of those things being just random
Creative
live
chats.
streams. Yeah, and I don't really want to like have a set schedule right now. It's just kind of be like whenever it is. So make sure to hit that bell and join the notification squad so you can, be alerted when I'm going live, whenever it is.
Drop whatever you're doing and just join.
Join in. Yes, exactly. But if you're new here, I'm a YouTube coach. Tom is also a YouTube coach. And if you are interested in tech and gear and audio and video, definitely go check out Tom's channel. He has 200 tutorials to teach you how
9 published videos.
Tell your story with all different kinds of tech. If you want to know more about the YouTube aspect of this journey, that's what this channel is for. If you have any questions or content requests, please let me know. And then again, check out our YouTube Mastermind group. It's at ytmastermind.com. Let me check in with the chats. Let's see. Thanks for streaming. One of the few gripes I had from high school were the cool kids were always acting like they knew more than everyone. I was just fortunate to have friends who genuinely liked being around me and vice versa.
Yeah.
We should do a whole stream about the cool kids. Is that what I should rename this stream to it? Let's see. Thanks for streaming. I'll be going through older videos here. Lots of content I'm interested in.
This channel, people have been, every time we've talked to somebody or streamed or anything lately and Heather's mentioned this channel, people are like, oh my gosh, that's the channel. Like, that's where I've learned like so much. So,
which is crazy because like I literally have only uploaded one time in 2020.
But there's a library of videos here,
yes,
though.
And so here's my final tip for you guys. If you were a tutorial channel, what I did was for 6 months, I uploaded twice a week. Every single week for 6 months last year.
Yeah.
Tuesdays and Thursdays, and I did not miss a beat. And that library has carried me through this entire year. And I still get new subscribers and new views, and I'm still able to help and serve people because of that library. So if you are a tutorial channel, there's plenty of opportunity with doing SEO on your videos and making your content searchable so people can find your content when they are looking for your content, because people are definitely looking for the content that you can create. So anyway, with that said, how are we going to end it? Where can people find you?
YouTube.com/Tom Buck or
awesome.
at SodarnTom on all the things.
We hope you have a wonderful day. Thanks for joining. Give this video a thumbs up if you haven't already. Let us know if you create anything in the comments. Link us your YouTube channel. That would be cool. We'd love to check it out. And we will catch you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye. Where's the here it is.
Now's the awkward part. You have to click that button.
Here we go. Bye.